Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. This week's fishing report is brought to you by Drivn Outdoors. If you guys could, go check them out. They're a local Minnesota business providing fishing tackle, gear, apparel, and much more to come. So, like I said before, guys, go over, check out Drivn Outdoors at drivnoutdoors.com. Their website will be linked down in the description along with their social medias. But with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing report. Alright, this week we're going to start out up on Leech Lake. The walleye bite has been decent as of late. The fall patterns are still a few weeks behind, with the water temp still hanging in the mid-60s. As far as where they're finding the majority of the walleyes, look in sand to grass flats, cabbage beds, or the outside edge of milfoil. Now, the best way to catch those fish right now is on a jig, either a 1/16 or a 1/8. Tip that with a shiner, fathead, or rainbow, and you're more than likely going to catch some nice Leech Lake walleyes. Now, the perch bite out on Leech Lake, the perch bite is on fire right now. They're finding those fish in the same areas as the walleyes. Those sand and grass flat and shallow water, those perch are schooled up in there, and they are catching a lot of really nice keeper perch. Now, as far as some areas to look for those structures, Sucker Bay, Steamboat Bay, Agency Bay, and Sand Point have been really good areas as of late. So if you want to get in on some walleye and perch action out on Leech Lake, go ahead and check those areas. Now, as far as the musky bite goes out on Leech Lake, it is pretty tough right now. The bite windows are very short, and the best bite window has been right after sunset for the next hour to two. Now, if you guys are fishing structure, you're not finding fish, make sure later in the day you circle back, because at 1 second, them fish are up on the structure, and then they're back off, then they're moving back up on throughout the day. So make sure you circle back on those high production areas, even if you don't see fish the first time around. Now, the best ways they've been catching those fish is with dive and rise baits, whale tails, and twitch baits. Now, check those shallow rock structures, sand points, those deeper weed lines where the weeds are still green. Those are all great areas to be checking right now. Now, if you guys are looking to get out on Leech Lake, you want to hire a guide, we highly recommend Leech Lake Guide Team LLC. They do have openings for during the week and the upcoming weekends. So if you want to go after some perch and walleye, go ahead, contact Leech Lake Guide Team LLC and book yourself a trip. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, we highly recommend Horseshoe Bay Lodge. They have a beautiful resort there. Whether you're looking for a hotel room, a cabin, a condo, they have a full bar and restaurant and can help you enjoy Leech Lake to its fullest. So if you want to get up to Leech Lake, go ahead and call Cam or Courtney from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. Now, guys, just a reminder, ice fishing is coming soon. We're probably only 50 to 70 days away. Start thinking about buying those early season passes through the resorts. You might be able to save some money if you buy them now. So start thinking about making your plans, booking cabins, fish houses, whatever it might be, and get up to Leech Lake this ice fishing season. All right, now moving over to Mille Lacs Lake. The bite out on Mille Lacs still seems to be pretty steady. Some guys doing better than others, but the majority of people are able to find some fish. Now, some good areas over on the east side right now is Big Point, Hennepin Island, Doe Island, and other structures similar to those. Now, the depths to look in, if it's windy out, 10 to 16 feet of water. If it's calm out, 16 to 22 feet of water. Now, as far as how they're catching those fish, a lot of guys are starting to rig big minnows. 4 to 6 inch sucker minnows, big shiners. They're pulling them along the bottom and they're catching some really big walleyes and smallmouth bass. Now, the best depth for pulling those is that 18 to 24 feet of water. Those fish are kind of in a transition right now. The smallmouth, they're transitioning to go out to the deep during the winter, and those walleyes are starting to transition in shallower, which with this coming cold temperatures, I would suspect that those walleyes are going to continue to pull in shallower and shallower as this month goes on. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, they're still catching perch in some of the shallower basins, 20 to 24 feet of water just off the edge of structure. They're dropping down a drop shot or a jig and a minnow, and they're pulling in some really nice perch. Now, I already touched on it a little bit. The smallmouth bass, they are starting to transition to move out a little bit deeper. There still is a few fish in that 10 to 14 feet of water, but the majority of them are starting to stage out in that 18 to 22 feet of water. So if you're having trouble finding them in shallower, check some of the deeper rock and you're gonna find some nice smallmouth bass. Now, as far as the musky bite goes, I heard that the musky bite was starting to pick up. Once again, they're pitching big rubber baits on deep weed lines in Isle Bay, Cove Bay, and out on some of the shallow points on the main lake. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide out on Mille Lacs Lake, Castles Resort can hook you up. Whether you're looking for a walleye, smallmouth, or musky guide, give them a call. They'll help put you in touch with a guide that can help you get on this species of your choice. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay, Castles Resort has a bunch of beautiful cabins up there. They got pontoon rentals. They're still running their launch service. You need to call ahead and book your seat if you'd like to get on that. And also, they are starting to prep for the ice fishing season. So if you want to book an ice castle for this upcoming ice fishing season, get on the books because they're starting to book pretty fast. So if you're looking to get up to Mille Lacs Lake out of the Isle Bay area, go ahead and call Jeff or Kimberly from Castles Resort. All right, moving over to Lake Winnie. As far as the walleye bite goes, it's pretty tough right now. Some guys are finding a few, but you really got to work for them right now. Now, the water temp out on Winnie right now is 66 to 68 degrees. So it's still not quite hitting those fall temps yet. But with the cold weather coming this week, those temps will drop and the fishing should drastically improve out on Winnie. Now, as of right now, where they're finding the fish, the north end humps in 18 to 20 feet of water, jig and a minnow, and they're pulling up some really nice walleyes. Now, you can also try the shallower weed lines on the north end as well, in that 7 to 12 feet of water. Once again, jigs or pulling spinners with minnows, and they're picking up some nice fish there as well. Then down on the south end of the lake, they are starting to pick up some really nice jumbo perch. There's not a ton of them, but the ones you do get into are really nice. Now, to find those down there, target those shallow weed lines. Once again, jigging a minnow or pulling a spinner with a minnow is the way to catch the fish out there. Then over in Tamarack Bay during the evening, the shallow weed lines pulling crankbaits, shad rap number 5s, and crawfish or perch. And they're picking off some really nice walleyes. And they're even getting some perch mixed in. Now, if you want to catch some crappies out on Winnie, locate the pencil reeds, the deeper weed lines. They're pitching up jigs and plastics and jigs and minnows, and they're catching some absolute monster crappies out there right now. So if you want to get in on that crappie bite, get on up to Lake Winnie. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide out on Lake Winnie, we highly recommend Scott Zupfer. He does not have any more openings for this season, but he will start taking reservations for next year. Scott will be renting out ice castles on Winnie this winter, so if you want to get in on some of Winnie's phenomenal walleye and perch fishing through the ice, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice and book an ice castle. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Lake Winnie, we recommend the Pines Resort. They have beautiful cabins, bar and restaurant, heated fish cleaning shack, and much, much more. Now, just a reminder, guys, the Pines Resort, they're taking reservations for cabins and day houses for the ice fishing season. Chad told me they're filling up really quick, so if you want to get in on that, the December and January is filling really fast. There's still quite a bit of February and March, so go ahead, call Chad and get something on the books. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Once again, if you guys could, check out Drivn Outdoors. We have their website linked down in the description. Go check out their gear, maybe pick something up, and show them some support. Now, if you guys make it out fishing, remember, don't crowd your neighbors, be kind at the boat ramps, lend a helping hand, and most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.